You know, the Beatles said that all you need is love, but then Tina Turner said, what has love got to do with it? I kind of wonder, somewhere sandwiched between those two statements and questions is actually this really big conversation about what love is and what love looks like. In 1 John chapter 1, the apostle tells us that God is love, that God looks like love, but then we're still kind of left with this question, what does love look like? Yeah, that same question was kind of brought to Jesus when he was on earth. There was a lawyer who was trying to grapple with like what it meant to follow God. And so he came to Jesus and said, like, what is the essence of the gospel? Like, what is the essence of this news, this religion, this thing that I'm doing? Like, what really matters? And Jesus is like, well, actually, it boils down to pretty simple stuff. I mean, we make it really complicated, but actually it's really simple. It's this, it's love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. As a matter of fact, little Jewish boys growing up in that religious context would have memorized that scripture. They would have said it every day. It's called the Shema. They would have known it. It would have been like your go-to verse if you needed some instruction. So Jesus is basically instructing this like really important religious leader on like the basic idea that God is love and that loving God is all that's required. That's actually the thing that sums up what it is we're talking about when we're talking about God. But this religious leader, like this religious leader, like almost everybody on the planet seeking to justify themselves, said, but what is that? What does that love look like? And Jesus tells a story of a guy who's in need and beat up on the side of the road, and it's called the Good Samaritan, because there's a whole bunch of people that pass by that have no time for him, mostly religious people, busy people, successful people. But there's this one guy who's kind of a little excluded himself, and he doesn't pass by. He stops and he helps him. He helps him because he understands that he's like him, that he's connected to his humanity somehow. He sees him and he interacts with him, and he helps him. And Jesus says, love looks like that. See, the scripture, the Shema says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength, as though that relationship is really important. But it also says this, love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said this, love is both end. It's not like one or the other. You can't love God and not love your neighbor. They're intimately connected because that's what love is like. Love is about relationship with God, and then love is about relationship with others. I really hope that you'll understand that love has everything to do with it.